Jim since 2006 when I joined Timken as a part of his leadership team. So most of my experience with Jim has been professional and around the Timken company. But anybody who's had the chance to work with Jim gets to see his commitment to philanthropy all around the world here in Stark County, and in particular to the United Way. And that's been a great opportunity for me to watch him. As Jim's told me, and I'm sure others, he was first exposed to United Way when he was in his late 20s. He was living in Denver. He and Pam's children were young. He had a new mortgage and a pile of debt left over from graduate school, and his manager approached him about giving what he could to the United Way. And Jim decided to give $1 per pay period at that time. It's probably actually even a little bit more than what he could afford when you look at his personal situation. But that's what started him with the United Way. And that's a fairly similar story to how I started with the United Way, and I'm sure a lot of others as well. In Jim's career with Timken, he and his family were transferred to lead our Australian business in Ballarat, Australia. And there, shortly after he moved there, he got involved with the community chest. And that was really his first engagement in fundraising for a community. And to hear Jim tell it, where he really saw the impact of fundraising and what was a relatively depressed community and the impact that had on the community. And that's what really gave Jim the bug, as he would describe it, and the passion for continuing that when he came back to Canton and through the rest of his career. Shortly after Jim became CEO, he stepped up to become the campaign chair for Stark County campaign. He led a very successful campaign. They raised over $7 million. He leveraged that opportunity to rally employees and to get to know the Canton community. And since then, he stayed involved directly and indirectly in the Stark County campaign. He continues to chair United Way's Executive Council, and he is the most vocal and prominent advocate of the United Way among the Timken executive team. And most of us only get a chance to see what he does here in Stark County, but it's really a small part of what he and Pam do globally. They founded an orphanage in China that they named Wesley's House. Jim and Pam have been involved in the founding of the local Blessings in a Backpack chapter, which is focused on meeting the basic food needs of elementary age school children. I nominated Jim for the Gold Key Award really for what he has done for the United Way at the Timken Company. As many people know, the Timken family was involved in the founding of the United Way along with the Belden family and some others back in the 1920s. And if H.H. Timken could have had the foresight to have selected the ideal person to carry that tradition on for him some 80 or 90 years later, he couldn't have found anybody better to do that than Jim Griffith. Jim has really led the program in all aspects over his career as CEO. Every year in the program, he is the largest single contributor to the campaign. And while he doesn't expect everybody else to contribute at that level, he does expect everybody to contribute. He wants all employees of the Timken Company to do what they can, either with their time and or their money. And it's really what he's looking for in the people that he wants to be employees of the Timken Company. He wants employees who care. And I think that's one of the things that makes the Timken Company a special place to work. And that is reflected in our workforce today, that we have people that don't come to work every day just to punch a clock. We have people that work at the Timken Company because they care and they like the culture that's been created as a part of that. If you could roll the clock forward with H.H. Timken, he would be thrilled with what he sees as the tradition that's been carried on during Jim's tenure as CEO at the company.